All right, here's the definition of complementary angles and supplementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles that have the sum of their measures total 90 degrees. So it's two angles. It doesn't matter how the picture looks, like if they're side by side or if they're apart. The angle measures are what's important. You don't really even need to have a picture of them. Complementary angles, two angles that add up to 90 degrees. And so you would talk about one being the complement of the other. So angle B is the complement of angle A. Supplementary angles are two angles that have a sum of their measures totaling 180 degrees. Instead of 90, they add up to 180. And it's two angles. Doesn't matter what a picture looks like, and you don't even need a picture. You just need to know the measures.
How do you know the difference between?
Okay. You're going to have to memorize which is which. Now, here are some things that students have told me that help them. You have to know that they add up. Okay? And then the C has one curve to it. The S has two curves to it. So the S, the supplement, is twice as big total. That's what the complementary was. I've had some tell me they did that same kind of thing, but with how many P's are in it. Complementary has one P, supplementary has twice as many P's. So that total is twice as big. So, some mental math here. If you had a 20-degree angle to start with, what would the complement of a 20-degree angle be? A 70-degree angle. What would the supplement of a 20-degree angle be? 60 degrees. You're taking 180 minus 20. So you can just subtract to find what the complement is or supplement, but subtract from the correct thing as you go through. Still writing some notes, it looks like. So let's do another mental math one. Your angle is 47 degrees. What is the supplement of it? What did I say? Start with 47? 47, so 133. 133 degree angle. What's the complement of the 47 degree angle? What's the complement of a 90 degree angle? 90 plus 0 would be 90. So how about a 0 degree angle? Is there, well, I guess I'm thinking, yes, a 90 and a 0 degree add up to 90. What would a 0 degree angle look like?
It would be like
Would it be a ray? Would it be a ray like this?
like two on top of it.
Or would it be, somebody said straight angle, are you thinking, whoops, is that? Which one's 0 degrees?
The top one. That's right.
The bottom one's 180.
The top one's 0, this was 180, correct, okay? Now, is this an angle?
No.
It's actually not an angle if they're two of the same ray, so really that's just a ray. So a complement to a 90-degree angle doesn't exist. There is no 0 degree angle. Is there a supplement to a 90-degree angle?
Yes.
Yes. What would it be? Another 90-degree angle? Correct. Okay, how about if you had 120 degrees? Complement of a 120-degree angle? Okay, it's not possible because we already have more than 90 degrees if you start out with one that's 120. Is there a supplement to a 120 degree angle? All right, I think everyone's done with the notes now. Adjacent angles. Adjacent angles are two angles that share a common vertex and side, but have no common interior points. They share a common vertex and side, but have no common interior points. We have to draw pictures to tell whether angles are adjacent or not. But it has to do with where they are positioned, how they're put together. Okay, so I'm going to use two different colors, two different angles. Okay, so here's one angle in blue. Then in red, I'm going to draw another angle that shares that same vertex. So the corner point is still that same point. And one of the rays is shared. So I'm going to make the second one in red, have this ray, and go down here. So notice how I hooked them together. They have the same vertex, they share a side, and they are beside each other instead of on top of one another. So you could say angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent in that picture. Let's compare that to some other ones. Okay, I'm going to draw multiple ones here. Okay, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, which angles are adjacent? You think 1 and 2 are adjacent? Do they share a ray? Angle 1's these two rays, angle 2 is these two. So yes, this ray is shared, same vertex, side by side, 1 and 2 are adjacent. Okay, Marty? 1 and 6, adjacent? Yes. Okay, which ones were you doing? 2 and 3? Adjacent. How about 2 and 4?
No.
They are not adjacent, correct. There's an angle between them. 5 and 6, or 5 and 4. 5 and 2, are those adjacent?
No.
They're correct. It's no. And let me emphasize, these two rays make angle 5, and these two rays make angle 6. Or 2. Yeah, 2. 5 and 2. They do have the same vertex, but none of these rays are duplicated like they were on this one. Now, if you're thinking because this green and blue one are on like the same line, that means they share the same side, no. Because the ray that makes angle 5 goes down, the rays that make angle 2 go up. So those are different rays. What else do I want to do? Okay, here's a picture like this. It's supposed to be straight. Angle 1 and 2, are those adjacent? Yes, they are. They're side by side together. And let's just make a simple X. And angle 1 and angle 2. No, that was the same discussion we had with 2 and 5. So those were not adjacent. These were adjacent. These were, and on the 1 through 6, there were things that were and things that were not. Okay, so let's do a check of understanding. Determine whether, I'm going to put some angles on the board. Determine whether the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither, and then tell whether the angles are adjacent or non-adjacent. Can you see that very well? Good enough? A different color would have worked better, probably. Okay, so grab your marker board. Okay, so for each picture I put on the board, you should have 2 answers. Complementary, supplementary, or neither, and then adjacent or not adjacent. All right, let's start with this angle. This angle. We'll make this one 60 degrees, and we'll make this one 40. number one. Number two. Two answers on each one. You're missing something on 6 and on 4. Should have 2 answers on every problem. Ready to go through? Okay, number 1. What are your two words? Hannah? Okay, complementary, non-adjacent. They add up to 90 degrees, but they're not hooked together side by side. All right, number two, Sam.
Supplementary and adjacent.
Supplementary and adjacent, correct. Number three, Dallas. Supplementary and adjacent, correct. How did he get the complementary when I didn't tell you what the numbers or the measures are?
It said right angle.
Okay, I have the right angle, which is putting those two together. So it could look like it's 90 degrees. So the picture clarified that one. Number four, Lupe, supplementary and how much? Non-adjacent? She's got a mistake.
If you add 110 and 80, it'll be 190 degrees. So it's neither.
So not supplementary. Neither complementary or supplementary, I had it added wrong. All right, Morgan, number five. Neither. What do they add up to be? 52 and 48. Zero, carry the one. Add up to 100. So that would be neither. So neither and adjacent on that one. And the last one, Gavin, are you understanding? Okay. Complementary and non-adjacent. Correct. They add up to 90. They are not side by side, they're across from each other. Okay. How many perfect scores? Am all right? I've got a few anyway. All right. Here's a picture, and I'm going to ask you to name some angles on here, okay? Can you name a pair of adjacent angles? You should write down adjacent angles. What's a pair of adjacent angles? There could be multiple answers, so we'll check some of your answers. Adjacent angles. Now, I didn't put like the 1, 2, 3, so how do you name an angle when there's points? And all the angles come together at one location, so you can't just use that. You gotta use 3 letters. Maybe angle A and B, or angle B and C. You gotta do the 3 letters to name it. Okay, as for adjacent, tell me what you came up with. Tim, you have angle B and C and C and D. Okay, these 2 angles, correct. Those are adjacent. Another pair, A and B, B and C. Those are adjacent. Ellie, what'd you have?
I had C, D, and D, and E.
B and E. So those 2, correct. Another one, Morgan?
B and C and D and C.
B and C and D and C, those 2? Okay, yes. How about if I said angle A and B and angle B and E?
Yes.
A and B would be this angle. And then B and E would be that angle. What ray do they share? B's not a ray. Ray NB, yeah, this side was a side of both of those angles. So it doesn't have to be just a small acute angle, it could be a bigger angle. Okay, in the picture, name complementary angles. Complementary angles.
look there and then back and see.
Zach, did you find any complementary ones? You've got 3 angles listed, complements are only 2. Complementary angles are just 2 angles that add up to 90 degrees. So we might need to revise that a little bit. Natasha, what do you have? Diane? Okay. I didn't give you specific measures on some of the angles, but there is a 90 marked in the picture. And that 90 connects 2 angles together. So these 2 angles together make 90. So can you name those 2 angles? That would be angle BNC and angle CND. Those would be complementary. With another pair, Morgan? Angle AN what? ANC and CNE. Okay, so you're saying those 2 add together to make 90? How big is angle ANC? I guess I don't know. And CNE? I think when you put those together, that one is almost like 90 all by itself. And then you put this one with it, you're going to make a total of 180. You've given me supplements, not complements. Any others besides the 2 that I listed? Okay, we just talked about supplements, and Morgan gave me 1 pair that are supplements. Can you come up with another pair that are supplements? Write them down. Which ones are supplementary? I think right now our pairing is front row, first and second rows, third and fourth rows. And if you're without a partner today, just use a group of 3 beside you. Discuss this one with your own group. What supplementary angles? That's you 2 that are both missing partners you could pair up today, is that good? Jay, what did you and your partner come up with?
Give me colors, DNA,
Couldn't find any supplementary? What do supplements look like in a picture? Remember this one back here? Where, I guess I didn't really have to have those measures. Can you tell that together those 2 would make 180 because of the straight line? Okay, so look for that in this picture. If I would do angle ANB, if I do this angle, then what angle would go with it to get all the way to the straight line? BNE would go with it. So you could do angle BNA or ANB, and then angle BNE. Those would be supplementary. Your group come up with another pair? Carrie. AND and angle DNE. AND, DNE. Also, which one? Sam? BND.
Yeah,
And which one?
ANC.
ANC. Boy, that's really hard to tell. This one, 90. What's ANC? Not necessarily. Let's put some numbers in here and let's see. Maybe it would work out okay. If I put 40 right there, then this one is the same, so this one's 40.
55.
That one would have to be,
55.
no, not 55. 50 to add up to 90. What's our last one calculate to be? 90. 90, that's 130. So it would have to be 50. So yeah, I'll go with that. based on the numbers that are there. That might have been kind of a lucky guess, but yes, because of the congruence in there. Okay, and before we leave this picture, name congruent angles. A review idea. Congruent angles. Based on what we just talked about, this should be easy. Ben, which ones are the congruent angles?
Angle B and C and D and E.
B and C, and which one?
D and E.
D and E. The ones that have the curved tick marks inside them, those are the congruent angles. Okay. Now find the value of the variable. How many degrees is x? Write it down, don't shout it out. You can tell, look at markings that are in there. We've got some complementary angles going on here. Because you see the 90 total. Show me a few more answers. Some of you are stuck, it looks like. All right, something you need to notice is I have the right angle marking, meaning that those two together make 90. So you could do 58 plus x has to equal 90. So 90 minus 58. So x should have been 32 degrees. How about this one? Figure out what the variable is, and then we'll find the measure of each angle to make sure it worked out right. Notice we've still got the 90-degree marking, so these two angles are complementary. Let's more practice solving equations. Doesn't show that both of those are the same. It shows that together they make 90. So this plus this. Does it come out that way? How about this? This one? So you see that square marking? What has to be 90? Both things. So how do you get the whole thing? Not each one's 90, but together. Add them together. Same mistake. You talking to him? So it's that those two angles together, like added together. Okay, getting a little stuck on this one. If I go back to the last problem, it was pretty much the same picture, just a lot simpler. Notice what we did on this one. We took the 58-degree angle plus the x angle, and that should make a 90 total. Added the angles to get 90. Okay, do the same on the problem that we are on. Add the two angles together to equal 90. So 3x minus 4 plus x minus 2 has to equal 90 degrees. So you get 4x minus 6 equals 90. Add 6. 4x equals 96. 96 divided by 4. 24. And let's substitute back in to see what the angles are and make sure that it works. Okay? So 3 times 24 minus 4, 68. And down here, 24 minus 2, 22. 68 and 22 added makes 90. So that tells me it checked correctly. Question on that one? No? Okay, let's try to find the value of the variable in this picture. What do you need to think of? Well, if you go from one side through that angle and through this one, what's that total going to be? What's that total straight angle? Not too many of you are writing it like an equation, you're just coming up with the answer. But here would be my equation. Added together, those two angles add up to 180. So then you're subtracting 180 minus 147 and gives you x equals 33. I show it that way because it makes this kind of problem easier to do. This one would be hard to do if you're just subtracting. So what plus what equals what? Write your equation. And then solve. Those of you drawing pictures, next problem. One equal to each other. One is skinny, one's acute, one's obtuse. They're not going to be. They're going to add together. 2x plus. Group up on this side. Same size, Notice you have a pretty clean rag in your bags. I'll switch those out and got some clean ones, got rid of the dirty ones. Okay, on this one, you should have started with 2x plus 5x plus 5 equals 180. And when you solved it, you should get x to be 25. You want to see the solving? No? Okay, so x was 25. You would have had 7x plus 5 equals 180, and go from there. So 25 was x. When you substitute in to find the measure of each angle, 5 times 25, 5/4 is 125, plus 5 more, 130. And 2 times 25 is 50. Do those add up to be 180? Okay, thumbs up or down if you got that right. All right, some had it set up but not completely solved. All right, then a theorem. We have a couple theorems that relate to supplements and complements to finish up today. A theorem is a true statement that follows from other true statements. It's not a definition. It's not telling you the meaning of something. It's maybe giving you another relationship. A theorem is a true statement that follows from other true statement. A theorem is also a statement that can be proven. Postulates were accepted without proof. Theorems can be proven, and really to be a theorem, it needs to be proven. Otherwise, it's just a conjecture. So a conjecture that you can prove becomes a theorem. We will prove a few theorems. We won't prove every theorem that we want to do. So we have two theorems related to complements and supplements. I think it is the, say, congruent complements theorem and congruent supplements theorem, I think are the names of them. Ready? As far as what the names are, but I don't know if you would guess what it means. All right, ready? All right, theorem 2.1, which just means the second chapter, the first theorem, called congruent complements theorem. What it says is, if two angles are complementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. If two angles are complementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. So I've got some angles up there so that we can build an example. Let's label the angles A, B, and C. And we're going to make two angles complementary to the same angle. So I'm going to say angle A is complementary to angle B. And another angle, angle C, is complementary to the same angle, angle B. So that's what it says we have to have. Two angles that are complementary to the same angle. What it says you can get out of that is, then they are congruent. What are they talking about, they? In this picture or situation, A and C should come out to be the same. Angle A and angle C should be congruent. Let's throw some numbers in here and see if it works. Okay, let's start with angle A. 20 degrees. So then if angle A is complementary to angle B, what's angle B's measure?
70.
70 degrees, 90 minus 20. And to get angle C is complementary to angle B. So if that's 70, then C would have to be 20. Did it end up that angle A and angle C are the same, are congruent? Yes. See how it works? If we know the theorem, when you are just given this information and they told us angle A was 20, we could automatically say, oh, we know that angle C is going to end up 20. You can kind of skip them between if you really understand what the theorem's doing. If not, you can go through it. There's a theorem just like it, but with supplements. So this is the congruent supplements theorem. two angles are supplementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. Two angles are supplementary to the same angle. We'll build an example again. Let's call them angles X, Y, and Z this time. Okay, we need two angles supplementary to the same angle. Help me?
Angle X is complementary to angle Z, or supplementary.
Okay, angle X is supplementary to angle Z, would be the logical one in the picture.
And then angle Y is supplementary to angle Z. So angle X is congruent to angle Y.
So we're supposed to get angle X congruent to angle Y. Okay, we'll test it with some measures and see if it works. Tiara, how big would angle X maybe be? Okay, 40 could work. Okay, if angle X is supplementary to angle Z, how big would angle Z have to be? Ellen?
140.
140. Then, if Y is supplementary to angle Z, Y would have to be 40. And did we get what it said? Angle X and angle Y are congruent? Yes. So. Now what we're doing is not proving it, but it's demonstrating how it works. Okay, so a problem on your homework might be something like this. It says find the measure of the angle that's described. Angle 1 and 2 are both complementary to angle 3. If angle 1 is 75 degrees, find the measure of angle 2. If you go through the theorem, you probably can do it fairly quickly. If you want to go through kind of like what we were doing, I don't have a picture, but I could just list angle 1, angle 2, angle 3. Some of you think you know what the answer is right away. Okay, let's see if you're right. Angle 1 is 75. Which other angle can we figure out based on what it says? What's angle 3? Angle 3 is not 90 by itself, but 3 and 1 have to add up to 90. 3 and 2 have to add up to 90. Okay, so what's angle 3?
15.
15. And then if that's 15 and angle 3 is complementary to 2, 2 is
75.
75. How many of you had it right? Okay. Anyone use the theorem instead of doing this? Some did? Okay, because the theorem, we had two angles that are complementary to the same angle, so those two angles should have ended up congruent. So if you knew that, 75 degrees right away. How about in this one? So now ignore that problem. Angle 1 and 2 are both supplementary to angle 3. If angle 3 is 75 degrees, find the measure of angle 2. Think you know what angle 2 is? 75? No? What do you think? 105? Okay, let's try. We've got some disagreement. 1 and 2 are both supplementary to 3. 3 is 75. Angle 1 is supplementary to that. 180 minus 75, 105. Angle 2 is supplementary to 3. So that's 105 also. Angle 2 was 105 degrees, not 75. Why did that one work out differently? Notice which angles are where. 1 and 2 are the ones that are supposed to be congruent in the end. I didn't give you either 1 or angle 2. I gave angle 3. So I set that one up a little bit differently for you. So you'll be doing some problems like that related to the steroid. Okay? Otherwise, a lot of it is the definition and finding measures on complements, supplements, adjacent or non-adjacent. Here are the problems to work on. Page 70. 1 through 9. Evens on 16 to 26. 29 to 37 and 40 to 42. So we've done 3 sections. You might spend some time on Quizlets. I think our quiz that we'll take on Friday will cover these 3 sections. I think I have one group of Quizlet cards that are 2-1 to 2-3, because that's what